I'm Samantha.
And I'm Matt.
So the first time we went to Denia was in the summer of 2021, and we really fell in love with the place. It had a historical element, the food is great, you're right by the beach. It's walkable, which was a huge thing, I think, for us.
Yeah, I guess when we had talked to Sasha about doing this video, one of the things that she'd asked us is, what is it we do like about Denia? And my answer to that is there is a lot to like. We have a young son who loves being here, able to take him out for exercise, football pitch in the morning, down to the playground, down to the beach. There's loads and loads of restaurant options. We are a very close walk to the beach, and we're lucky that the apartment that Sasha helped us find has a lovely pool, so we're never wanting for things to do while we're here. We're just able to enjoy the time as a family with all the things that Denia has to offer.
So we knew we wanted to look at properties in Denia. And I remember the first thing, having a phone call with Sasha, and what really struck me was how honest she was. I told her what I thought were our criteria, and she very quickly kind of gave us some very clear guidance. That was probably the first, I think, thing that I noticed about her. And then when we met and we saw our first property, what struck me even more was she looked at us and after talking to us kind of said, no, this is not it. And I think from that, what was really, really powerful was I felt like we really had a relationship with the agent who was really looking out for us. And I think coming from London, which is a big city and there's a lot happening, and you kind of always feel like you're a number, and if it's not you, it's another person, and people are always trying to sell you something. I felt like this was actually a relationship in which this was a person who was actually trying to help us find something that we were going to enjoy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think, as Sam had said, we've had various experiences buying property in different places in London. It's a very different experience than it is in Spain, first and foremost. But the thing that was clear about Sasha was she cared about what we were trying to achieve with buying the property, not about selling us a property. And it felt very different in terms of some of the experiences we've had in another place in the past. I guess using that London as a comparison point, very different. But you can kind of tell quite quickly when you have a level of trust with somebody or not. And Sasha, again, was very warm in terms of our first meeting and asked the right kind of questions that made us confident that she was the right person to help us find this property that we were looking for in Spain.
Yeah. So the funny thing about the buying experience for me was it was so smooth. I mean, so much so that at one point I remember kind of stepping back and being like, well, hang on a second, we're buying this property in a country we don't speak the language and we don't know the rules. But it seems so easy and seamless. And I think it was, again, really down to Sasha helping just very systematically go through that process with it and explaining everything. Like, I never felt like I didn't know what was going on. And it was just very clear. So I think it was almost so easy that I felt when we got to the signing that, like, really, is this it? Because it's just so comfortable and so easy. That was a real experience for me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm very lucky that my wife is incredibly good with logistics and dealt with most of the interactions with Sasha, but that waiting for the other shoe to drop that never dropped was something I remember a lot during the process, as in we were waiting for where's the hidden cost, where's the extra time, where's the speed bump going to be in the process, but it really wasn't. And Sasha did a great job in terms of lining up what we would need to do mentally and then helping us along the way. So it really felt that something wasn't that cumbersome to deal with, particularly when you're buying a property overseas and don't have the ability to be there physically. Sasha was able to help navigate that process for us remotely, and it really was an incredibly easy process, and certainly a lot easier than we could have feared at our best case.
And maybe one thing to add, if I can, is we saw the property in November, or I saw the property in November, and my husband was traveling, and he saw it by a video, and I was lucky that he had faith in me. Like, he was like, well, what do you think? And I said, I think it's a good property. And then we didn't see it again until the signing. So I think when you talk about what was a big emotional moment, I think it was the second time we went into the property right before the signing. And my husband, that was the first time he physically had gone into it. And I think we were all very hoping that he would like it as much as we did, and me trying to remember, oh yes, is this really what it was? So it was such a great feeling to go back and be like, yes, this was what I remember it to be. And then for him to come in and kind of give the seal of approval, which is not always easy to get.
Well, I guess on that point, I mean, Sam had seen the property, and I remember one of the questions that I asked her is, I said, what does Sasha think? Is it fair price for the property? Is it unique relative to the other options we're going to be able to find? And, between Sam's feeling of saying this is the right place and Sasha's stamp of approval that we were in the right arena for the kind of things that we were specifically looking to solve for within our search, gave me confidence that it was the right decision to make, even, not having seen it. And that's part down to my wife, and again, in part down to our trust of Sasha's navigating the property market, because we had seen enough other options with her at that point to know that she was thoughtful with respect to getting us the right property for the right price, not the right property for any price. So we were confident in making that move.
Yeah. Yeah, so we did do a renovation. And as usual, I think you end up doing more stuff than you thought you were going to do. But again, I felt very connected to Sasha. We probably have very similar work style, so very project-minded. So it was a great project to work on. And it was very transparent. It was very clear. And I mean, if you ask me, how do I feel today? Several years on in the process, every time we walk into that property, I'm like, this is my happy place. There's nothing in the property that I'm ever like, oh, I wish we did differently. Like I genuinely think it's just it's a great property, but we also renovated it lovely. It's just a lovely place to be, and it's our happy place.
Yeah, I mean, I think, the same answer, kind of buying a property remotely and doing renovations remotely can be quite daunting in terms of thinking about workers in the property, not that we had anything in when we were doing the reservations of personal value, but, striking a pipe or leaving the doors unlocked or any of those things that you'd be worried about. But we were, again, working with Sasha, as I keep saying, made the process very smooth and transparent, as she would check in and out independent of everything else going on with the workers and do that regularly. We were able to make some on-the-cuff decisions that you wouldn't normally be able to make remotely, because Sasha was there and involved in the process and asking us questions along the way. And one of the things when we originally saw the apartment is Sam had said it's perfect because we're not going to do anything at all. And of course, as she said, you wind up making a lot of little changes along the way. But from redoing the kitchen to some of the other projects that we did in terms of finding furniture for the apartment, bedding for the apartment, mattresses, everything was again a lot easier than I would have possibly could have hoped that it would have been trying to do that remotely. And thanks to all the help we have locally from the INMO expert team to be able to get us the apartment that we both are happy to be at and consider our happy place.
Yeah.
Maybe I can start answering this one, because even knowing my wife would have done a lot of this work remotely, I would not have been comfortable buying a property overseas without a local partner that we had a high level of trust in terms of helping us navigate not only the process from a legal standpoint, but also just the practical aspects of somebody to help us check out on the apartment during the process, during the renovations and everything else. So I would have been drawn kicking and screaming into this purchase had we not had the help of local experts to be able to guide us along the way.
I mean, I don't think we would have found the apartment. I mean, I think even more basically, I remember, Sasha was such a wealth of information about buildings and areas, and really, again, assessing what we were looking for, that when we kept looking and focused in on this building and then this apartment, it was really because she'd helped us give that guidance. I mean, that's how I knew to go look at that building. So I would say we certainly wouldn't have found that apartment and an apartment that we liked as much as we did.
Yeah, even when you go on holiday for a couple years, you realize what a holiday maker knows, not what a local person knows. And having that local expertise really is invaluable in terms of not only the property you find, but after you find the property, of all the things you need to do to move into that property, from closing to getting the keys to buying the things along the way. I guess asking what's the one word you think about with respect to closing the property and everything else. And I guess independent of the specifics of buying a property, is I feel blessed. And I feel blessed to be able to be in a town where I truly do feel relaxed. I feel at home. I feel like I can enjoy my life to the degree I want to with my family, and blessed to be at this point in our life where we're thinking about our forever home and what that's going to look like. And this has been the first journey on that forever home way, and we're going to continue to work with our friends at INMO Expert to find what that ultimate property is when we get there. But just making that first step in the direction of, wow, I can see myself growing old in a place where I truly love and I feel relaxed is a feeling of being blessed, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah. I think maybe exciting. I think for those reasons, but it's exciting to kind of feel such an emotional connection. I mean, we work hard, and you put a lot into what your surroundings are, your family, and so I think to be able to see the fruit of something that you've worked really hard for, it's and kind of also know what does that next phase look like. It's super exciting. So I think the process has gotten me very excited for what's happening next. And again, it's our happy place. So, for that, we very much INMO Experts to thank.
And if you're looking to buy a property in Denia, buy it with INMO Expert.